Welcome back to What Healing Knows. Before we begin, take one breath with me, a small return to yourself. Healing begins in moments exactly like this one. After more than 20 years in medicine, one truth has remained constant. The body already knows how to heal. What it needs is for us to listen. This space is an invitation to do exactly that, to slow down, to listen, to return to yourself without pressure and without judgment. I'm Dr. Kitty. This is segment 3, Devotion and Discipline, episode 6, Keep the Promise to Yourself. Healing is built through small, kept promises. In this reflection, we will explore what it means to break a promise to yourself and what it costs. We will uncover the quiet cycle that keeps you returning to comfort over truth. And we will begin to work on rebuilding trust, one kept promise at a time. Let's begin right where you are. The promise she made. I have held her hand through more than one goodbye. She sat across from me on the exam table. She spoke with her eyes closed. Tears did not fall at once, as if they were trying to hold back, as if they knew crying was useless. But they came slowly, escaping from the corners like a leak from a faucet. She told me she was done, and it seemed like she meant it. She packed her bag. She called her sister. She slept somewhere safe. Over the next weeks that followed, I watched her slowly come back to herself. The bruises faded. Her laugh returned. We sat together and mapped out her life step by step again. I had sat with her before, held her before, cried with her before. We had mapped it all out before. Where she would go, where she would call, how she would begin again. But on that day, it felt like the promise had weight, that it might hold because she had always reserved her sister as the last resort. Until I saw her name on my schedule again. She walked in smiling. He had promised again. He would never hurt her. And this time, he said it in front of her sister, in front of the witnesses. And somehow that made it feel different. Somehow that made it feel real. I smiled back. I listened. I wrote my notes. She was not returning to her partner. She was returning to the promise her partner made. As the bruises faded and the apologies came, she returned to the version of love she had been told existed, the one she had caught glimpse of early on, in the good mornings and the gentle moments. And something inside her leaned towards the phrase, I will never hurt you again. Not towards him, not towards harm, towards the phrase that felt real enough to return to. I will never know if he kept his promise because that was the last time I saw her. I still wonder what I could have done to help her keep her promise. I have never judged her, and I'm not telling this story for your judgment. I'm telling it as a reminder that every one of us breaks promises we make to ourselves every day. The promises we break. Starting tomorrow, I'll put my phone down an hour before bed. This week, I'll stop eating sugar. Oh, on Monday, I'll start going to the gym. From now on, I'll stop saying yes to things that drain my energy. We have all said them before, and when we do, we mean them. It feels like a door opening, like the version of us that keeps these promises is already standing just on the other side, waiting. But then the moment passes. Monday becomes Tuesday. Tuesday becomes next month. And somewhere in between, we stop noticing we made a promise at all. We betray our promise. Why? Because the mind builds a comfortable prison. Let's say you miss one day at the gym because your body genuinely needed rest, a reasonable choice. But the mind is not interested in reason, the mind is interested in comfort. So it takes that one day and builds a room around it and calls it home. And from there, it keeps whispering, "You're tired. Start next week. It's not the right time." And without realizing it, you begin to lean towards that voice. You start sleeping later. The ideas that once excited you feel distant. The energy that was dipping starts to disappear. You break your promise to yourself. The painful truth about breaking promises to yourself is not the breaking itself, it's what moves in afterwards: shame. And shame does not arrive to help you do better, it arrives to remind you that you knew better. It settles in the chest and repeats the same thing over and over. You always say you will, but you never do. And so you reach for comfort to quiet the noise, the scroll, the snack, the easy yes, the familiar numbing. Not because you're weak, but because shame is loud, and in that moment, comfort feels like relief. That's how the cycle feeds itself. A broken promise becomes betrayal. The betrayal gives rise to shame. The shame reaches for comfort, and the comfort becomes the next betrayal. And somewhere in the middle of it all, you stop being the person trying to change and start becoming the person who believes they cannot. Here's the catch with self-betrayal. When someone else betrays you, you have options. You can leave the room. You can, with enough time and enough courage, walk away. The wound may not heal clearly, but you can create a distance from the source of it. But it's hard to quit the voice that knows every promise you broke, every self-betrayal. It's hard to walk away from yourself, which means the way forward is not escape, it's repair. It's returning to your promise and choosing to keep it. Where trust begins again. Trust is not built in the moment you say, "I promise." It's not built in a grand declaration of transforming your life by a set time. It's built in promises small enough to carry, small enough to keep. In the lights out before midnight, in the 10 minutes you stepped outside during the busy day. Each kept promise is a deposit. Each broken one is a withdrawal. And when the account has been overdrawn for too long, your body stops expecting you to show up. It stops trusting you, because trust is built grain by grain. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you gain trust from the part of you that stopped believing in you, the part that has heard the promise before and learned not to hold its breath. So keep the promise you make to yourself. And in the moments when comfort pulls you one way and your promise calls you another, pause, breathe, let the pull of comfort pass. Choose the promise. And whatever you do, do not let shame enter. The one promise that matters today. Before you move on into your day, I want to leave you with one question. What is one promise you've been breaking? Name it. Write it if you need to. Sit with it, not in shame, but in honesty. Then break it into its smallest pieces. Pick one and keep the small piece of promise. It's likely that you'll come back for another piece tomorrow, because the person who keeps today's promise is a little more capable to keeping tomorrow's. I still think about my patient who struggled to keep her promise. I hope she's safe. I hope she found her way back to herself. And I carry that with me because it reminds me of what sits at the center of all of this. The only promise that could have protected her was the one she made for herself. The same is true for you. You have returned. You have shown up. Now keep the promise. If you're still here, something in you had already said yes. That's not a small thing. That's the fire beginning to stir. Thank you for letting me walk beside you on this part of your journey. And if this reflection spoke to something in you, share your thoughts in the comments. Your words matter here, and they often become the reminders someone else needed to hear. And if you share your experience on social media, find me on Instagram at drkitty.healing. I would love to stay connected on this path with you. Until next time, keep listening, keep returning. Healing knows the way. With love and more love, Dr. Kitty.